Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Money and More Network. This is the show where we talk about your success, whatever that means to you. And I am your hostess, Wendy Cassera of Taxpectations, where we do bookkeeping, accounting, and all things taxes. As the tagline on my website reads, all roads lead to taxes. So we can be found on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and Google Plus and all those other wonderful places that make social media such a big thing. Not all of them, 'cause that's a lot. But I'm there. You can find me. Also, if you click on the link to this radio show, it does have my website and email link. You can message me anytime. Remember, the first consultation's always free. So today we're talking about goals and goal setting and how to get to your goals and what are your goals and all those other things. And I was thinking, because I do that a lot, about my philosophy with personalizing things. You know, you have to do things according to the, what's going to work for you, because we're all different. All of our personalities are different, our businesses are different, how we run it are different, and our goals, of course, are going to be different, which is why it's important to set one. So I am going to take this opportunity to look at goal setting from a couple different angles, because when I was first thinking about doing the goal show, I was thinking about, sharing with you guys the way that I get to goals, or the way that I think about goals, or what my goals are, that kind of thing. And I thought to myself, again, we're all about what works for you and what's successful for you. So we're gonna talk about that. First, though, we have a couple quotes of the day. Magic Johnson said, "Being able to touch so many people through my businesses and make money while doing it is a huge blessing." And Theodore Roosevelt said, "Far and away the best prize that life offers is the chance to work hard at work." I thought those were kind of a couple neat ones. I took those from that, 87 goals to help you towards your success. But I also liked one I found from Dolly Parton. "Find out who you are and do it on purpose." And I thought I would use that as the last, kind of quote, because that's what we're talking about, is finding out who you are and doing it on purpose. One of the reasons that I decided to do this show on goals today is because I've had several people. I go to do a consultation. One of the things I'm working with people is how to grow their business and help take what they've done so far to help propel them forward, using several of the tools that they already have. And one of the biggest questions I ask is, where do you want to go? So many business owners will say, well, I want to grow your business. So the next question is, okay, what do you want to grow it to? And funny enough, that is a question that a lot of them don't have the answer to. They use the generalization of, well, I just want to grow. This generalization causes your business to kind of hang out, because, like I've discussed before in my blog and several other times, to get to a destination, you have to have a map, at least a map in your head, if not a map anywhere else. And the nice thing is that one of the things that I want to stress, and we'll be talking about today, is the written goal, is writing it down. Because if you know that if you have a map in your head and you take a left turn instead of a right, and you kind of get lost, it's really hard to find that map back, because it's in your head and you map only the one way to get there. So writing down the map and having it on a piece of paper in front of you allows you to find it again. It makes it a little bit easier to figure out where you are and where you're going to, even though sometimes we get sidetracked, sent down a different road, or, life is what happens when you're making other plans. But having those goals allow us to go forward so that we have something to reach for. So I was thinking, there's a lot of people that have a lot of ideas about reaching goals, and having that plan to put your ambitions into action, having smart goal setting and the right mindset can put you on the path to success. And one of the things I ran across that was kind of funny as I was looking through, there was a story of a guy and he was talking about his goals and all that. And he said, and I love this part, he says, this was James Clear, he says, I've tried sneaking up on big goals, and although those strategies work, they're hardly foolproof. I just kind of thought it was kind of funny. He says, I love setting goals, but sometimes my goals don't always love me back. And he had a really interesting way to get and plan to get to his goals, which we'll be discussing because I think it's really important. And it was really, I thought that was kind of cute. So the first thing that we need to know about goals is what they are going to be. What's going to drive you to strive towards your goals? As we know, you may have heard this before. A lot of people have talked about it. Your goals have to have an emotional element. In order for them to be strong and potent and attainable, and something that you're going to actually go for and work towards, they really need to have an emotional element. So you need to drill down the goal in all actuality. Okay, so I want to make $1,000 this month. Well, why do you want to make $1,000 this month? Because I want to have enough money to pay your bills. Well, then how much money does it take to pay your bills? And are your bills the only thing that you want to pay? Is that all you want to get to? You need to that drilling down, that ask questions over and over again so you can get to where you're going and have the motivation. Now, say that your goal is $1,000 a month because you want to buy a brand new car because the old one's broken down, or you just really, really saw the car of your dreams, 1965 Mustang, candy apple red, white leather interior convertible. It is the car to have, and if I save up enough money, $1,000 a week for 6 months, I'm going to have enough money to buy it, and that's what I want. And all I do is think about that car and dream about the car and feel it and smell it, and I'm in it, and I can see myself driving in it. That emotional element is what is going to help you to get that goal. So define the goal, and drill it down. Make sure that you have the goal and the why you want the goal. Why do you want to attain it? And once you get there, then it makes it a little bit easier to do. I do something that's called deconstruct to reconstruct. And I heard that term. I've been doing it for a long time, but I heard that term the other day at an e-women meeting. And that was one of the coaches there was talking about that, deconstruct to reconstruct. And I thought that was really a really neat term. So I'm borrowing it because it's really true. When I sit down with a client, I say, okay, well, your goal is $12,000 this year. Then what we need to do is we need to break it down to monthly. So if you're going to make $12,000 this year, then we know we have to make $1,000 this month. And then you take that $1,000 this month and you divide it by the number of work days. And if we say there's 4 weeks with 5 days, we've got 20. So we know we have to make $50 a day. Now, in order to make $50 a day, how many of your products or services or what time increment do you have to sell to get that? And you break it down, and you keep breaking it down to the point of how many contacts you have to make a sale. So you're going to deconstruct it to deconstruct it to reconstruct. Boy, that's a tongue tire. We have to learn a little tongue tire math there. However, back to the goals and the goal setting. The goals should be specific, measurable, realistic, and positive. They've talked about that many, many times when you're talking about goal setting. And then you go and think about how you're going to get there. There are several things that you can do to think about that. And I think the one that I use the most is a journal. Use a journal, diary, calendar, or an app to track how you are doing. It keeps you focused on the goal and it lets you know when you get off course, and it helps you feel good when you know you're moving in the right direction. Commit to your goal. Say it out loud. Write it down. Come up with a slogan that inspires you to continue going forward with your goal. Find some motivating way that much. Again, decide in advance when and where you will take each action that you're striving for. So, for instance, your goal is to exercise every day. So you say, okay, well, I'm going to exercise for 10 minutes every day. It's going to be walking, and 5 minutes it's going to be climbing the stairs. Um, Take each action, figure out what action you want, be as specific as possible, and then follow up on your goals. You can also write a story, draw a picture to envision how your life will change when you reach your goal. Always, always, always give it a happy ending. We're all about the happy on this show, so make sure you give it a happy ending. What does that happy look like when you reach your goal? Another thing, watch movies or read about people who've achieved the same goal that you're after. It helps motivate you knowing that it can be done, and you might get some ideas and thoughts and definite, what's the word I'm looking for? La, 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 la. You might get some help from inspiration. That's it. Inspiration. I found it. Yay. It's my goal to find the right word. To get some inspiration to help you along your path to get. And you might get some, nice ideas. The other thing that they talk a lot about with goal setting. Now, say that you are, let's say one of the main reasons that people don't reach their goal is they attempt to take out an old habit. So, for instance, smoking. Here we go. Smoking. You're going to give up smoking, so you stop with the cigarettes. And you don't put anything in. You don't replace it with a new behavior. That makes it 100,000 times harder to change the goal if you don't change the habit if you don't replace it. So, using myself as an example, my own story, when I went to quit smoking, I picked up sunflower seeds, the kind that are in the shell. So I was eating sunflower seeds a lot. And that habit changed to a better habit. Now I don't, I do sunflower seeds when I feel like it, not all the time. But it replaced the new behavior. It replaced the old behavior with a new behavior. So it's really a good idea if you're going to take out an old problem that you replace it with something that's really, really good. The other thing is you need to figure out exactly what you're going to do for your goal, but what's going to happen when temptations arise. If you're attempting to go for successful business, or something else that's very time consuming like that is, other things are going to happen. Your family's going to go, oh, let's go to the beach today, and you're going to say, oh, okay, well, I can make $100 tomorrow by selling twice as many products, and I don't have to worry so much today about that $50 I need to make to get my $1,000 goal for this month, because I can just do 2 tomorrow. I could do $100 tomorrow. What are you going to do? What are you going to put in there that is going to help you to respond when a temptation arises to put aside your goal or put aside the plan that you had, for the day or for the time for your goal? One of the things you can think about. And, I talked about, so that is a little bit, of course, on goals and goal setting and how to get to your goal. But I also talked about at the beginning of the show that I was going to talk about things from a different angle. And the gentleman I talked about, James Clear, who talked about using silence or sneaking up on his goals, was talking about the fact that in his head, he kept going on about goals. He was thinking about goals all the time. It was on his brain, and it got him depressed. And he got stressed out because he kept thinking about all these big, lofty goals, and he wasn't getting there. And so he was feeling like a failure, and he wasn't getting to where he needed to go. And it just became so overwhelming for him. However, he still had goals. He still had places he wanted to go, as do we all. So one of the things that he did was he did a bunch of research, and he came up with some other thoughts and ideas of things that he could do to reach his goal without being so focused on the big picture. So he came up with an idea, and he called it the difference between goals and he said that in all of his research, it came down to that difference between goals and systems. So what's the difference between a goal and a system? Well, if you're an entrepreneur, your goal is to build a successful business. You want to grow your business. Your system is the method in which you're going to do that. It's your processes for sales, marketing, fulfillment, and operations, etc. If your goal is to lose weight, then your system is your daily eating habits, your daily exercising habits, etc., etc. The processes so that you can get there. If you're a writer, your goal is to write a book. The system is the writing schedule that you follow each week to get the book done. And I thought it was really neat because he said that about the book. And he has a story, a little bit of a story. I mean, it was a really, really long, good article. But his story was that he had decided that he wanted to blog every day. He didn't really have a word goal count or say, I want to write a book or anything like that. All he said was he wanted to write one blog article every Monday and Thursday. So he wrote twice a week. After he stuck to that schedule for a year, he sat down when he was thinking about this article, and he counted it. And the total word count for the articles that he's written in the last 12 months were 115,000 words. Now, he looked it up, and the typical book, I can speak. The typical book is about 50 to 60,000 words. So doing this in that year allowed him to write enough to fill 2 books. And so his whole point with that was that he didn't focus on the goal. The goal was not to write 2 books. He didn't stress out. I mean, can you sit down and go, oh, my, I have to write 2 whole books this year. Okay, I'll start writing tomorrow. You start getting overwhelmed because that's a lot to do, 115,000 words. I mean, it's huge. But all he did was without even setting a word count goal, he just knew that his process was going to be writing an article twice a week. So he just wrote an article, and that's all he did, and he focused on that process. He felt, like I said kind of at the beginning, that goals reduce your current happiness, because if you just sit and think about the fact that once I reach my goal, I'll be happy. Once I reach my goal, I'll be successful. So it tends to make today not very successful because you're not at your goal yet, which is one of the reasons, as I spoke, I do the deconstruct to reconstruct, because then it gives you daily goals and it makes it a little bit easier, those little bitty steps, and we'll talk about those after a little bit here. But he said that sometimes we put unnecessary stress on ourselves to get this big life-changing goal going on, and if we don't do it today, we're going to be depressed and stressed and whatever it is because we didn't reach our goal. So his idea was just to focus on the practice, focus on the systems instead of the goal, and that way you can enjoy the present moment. You can improve yourself along the way. So, you know, he went to someone training for a half marathon. Many people who are training for a marathon work really hard for months. They have a particular goal in mind. They set out their process. They do their workout every day or every week. They go along and get to their plan. They go through the process. But that was their goal. The half marathon was a goal. So once the goal happened, once the marathon happened and they ran the marathon, now they stopped. They no longer have anything to motivate them, so they stop running, they stop training, they stop doing all those things. So sometimes even in that manner, concentrating on the goal kind of defeats your own purpose. Now, of course, you could replace that with thinking about the next marathon or the next big thing that you're going to do. But it's really having the system-based mentality really helps you to move on. It helps you to go forward. It doesn't you're not worried about hitting a specific number as you are to keep going every day, every day. Goals are systems are more valuable than goals, he says, because goals are about the short-term result and systems are about the long-term process. A very wise man told me one time that I was thinking about, making sure that this month I had enough money to pay my bills and I had enough money to go out to dinner, and I had a specific dollar figure goal in mind. And he stated to me, he said, instead of worrying about the dollar that you're going to get or the dollar that you're striving for, all you need concerned about is to get 2 new clients a week. And so then I deconstructed that to how many phone calls do I need to make and how many meetings do I need to set up, but just focusing on the process of getting to the money goal instead of actually just focusing on that dollar figure. Because again, I agree here with James Clear that sometimes just focusing on the process will help us get to and beyond our goals. If you have a goal to reach $1,000 and you get to the $1,000, you become lax because you got to what you wanted to get. So the rest is gravy. Well, why does it have to be gravy? Why don't we just roll it up to the next thing? So his whole thing is goals suggest that you can control things that you have no control over. You can't predict the future, shocking as it is. But every time we set a goal, we try to predict the future. We try to plan out where we will be and when we will make it there. We try to predict how quick we can make it there and what our progress is going to be, even though we have no idea what circumstances or situation will arise along the way. So, again, combining this with what we were talking about before, things that I might suggest for either one of these, again, use a journal, get a journal, diary, calendar, etc., so you can kind of keep track of your progress. Put that as part of your system. Put that as part of how you're going to get to where you're going to get to so that you can keep track of it and you can adjust the map, the path, or in any way, whether it's to go back onto the path that you were on or whether you say, ooh, I just came up with this new idea or this new thing and I'm going to make this adjustment and stay going this way instead. So that way you have a better, easier way to get to where you want to go, even if where you want to go changes as you're driving along the highway of life. So what do you think, huh? I think that was a really kind of nice way to look at goals from a couple different points of view. So again, I agree with the goals and the motivation having to have a emotional component. Find out where you want to go and why you want to get there. Because even if you're focusing just on the processes, I'm focusing on getting 2 new clients a week. This is part of the process to get to the end goal of having the successful business that I want to have. Being able to get 2 clients a week, there has to be some motivation in there, and your motivation has to be an emotional reason. It has to be the why. So drill down to the why, get to where you know where you want to go, and then start devising a plan on how to get there, and work your plan, and worry about the plan. Don't worry about it. Worry is the improper word to use at that point. But enjoy your journey along the path of the plan and get there as soon as you get there, and just enjoy it, because we're all about being happy here. And so we want to make sure that your end results, that your road along the way, that your journey, all of it is happy, because it's really nice to know at the end of the day that you got something accomplished and it feels good. We've one of the processes I've always used are to-do lists, and sometimes to-do lists overwhelm me. My to-do list is a couple pages long. There's a lot of little things that need to be done all the time, and I was listening to, and I don't remember who it was because I listen to so much and read and all those other things, and And one of the things that ran across my path was someone talking about the power of three. And what they do is at the end of the day, every day, is they take their to-do list and they pick three things off of it. They pick a really, really important um, and item off the to-do list, something that's important, something that has a timeline on it or a deadline on it, something that may even be time-consuming, but she'd pick one thing that was really, really important, and she'd put that aside. Then she'd pick one thing that was kind of important on the scale of 1 to 5, about a 3. It needed to be done, something on her list. It wasn't going to be a money maker or breaker, but it was there. And then pick one off of your 5 list. These are all the little things that we do that need to be done. I need to get, one of the things on my 5 list is filing. I need to get some papers filed away. Yes, it's not going to make me a lot of money, and it's not a very glamorous job, but it is something that needs to get done. You know, I think of it as going to save me time when I go looking for whatever it is that I'm going to look for. So, but it's a necessary part. So it's on my number 5 list. So if I take one thing from my number 1 list, one thing from my 3 list, and one thing from my 5 list, and I put those down, and they are sitting, all the paperwork, all the information necessary to do those are sitting on my desk when I get up and when I get to my desk the next morning, then it doesn't quite feel so overwhelming. And before anything else gets done, that number 1 thing gets done. Without interruptions, without emails, without phone calls, and whatever else. We were laughing the other day. I was in a meeting, and the lady was talking about different time differences, and living by your strengths. This was at the E-Women meeting, and she said that she's a night person. She gets really going around 1 or 2 in the afternoon. That's when she gets up, she has her coffee, she does her thing, and she gets her groove on, and she comes up with her best ideas and does her best work between 10 p.m. and 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And there are some people that is just really awesome for. Me, I'm a get up at the crack of dawn. I can do my best work between 5 and 7 or 8 in the morning. And that's when those number 1 things need to be done. It's during that peak time, whatever it is for you. Make it work for you. Keep yourself happy. You don't have to do the same thing that everybody else is doing at the same time that everybody else is doing in the same way that everybody else is doing, because it's only going to make you crazy. So I thought I would drop a couple little bitty IRS facts in your lap before we move on. But you know what? Before we even do IRS facts, let's do a little happy.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here. You can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space with the air like I don't care, baby. By the way, because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because
you know what makes me happy? Minions. I love the Minions. Did you see? They're having a new Minion movie. I'm going to be standing in line with all the little kids to go watch the new Minion movies because that's what makes me happy. Okay, IRS. The IRS. If you're going to play slots, you're going to pay taxes. The IRS wants a piece of more jackpots. If you are a lover of casinos and you're out there gambling, the IRS has decided that they don't get enough tax money off of that, and that's one of the places they want to go. So they're going out and like right now, the slot machine world, if you win $1,200 or more, it's reported to the IRS. You know, they take a picture of your ID and Social Security cards and all that stuff, and they report it to the IRS, and in some cases they will take taxes depending on how much you win out before they pay you at your winnings. And so the IRS is now wanting to change that to half that. So they want the mandatory reporting threshold for slot machines to be $600. And I'm telling you, it is making a lot of people really, really upset, especially these professional gamblers. At the time of this writing, which was a week after that was announced, there were more than 14,000 people that had already petitioned to have that not happen. So we'll see how it goes as time progresses. But if you're a gambler, you better make sure that you take your IDs along because your winnings could be taxed a lot sooner than you thought. Okay. Also, the IRS has released a new tool, an online tool to help individuals and employers estimate health care law credits and payments. So you can go onto their website and click on the Premium Tax Credit Change Estimator or the Individual Shared Responsibility Payment Estimator. I get asked this question a lot, which is why I brought this particular one in, is what do you think my fines are going to be next year, because I never did sign up for Obamacare and I don't have insurance because the Affordable Care Act isn't very affordable. And so it's going to be nice to have this kind of tool to send people to. And of course, you know, if you're a client of mine or we're doing a consultation, it's one of the things I can kind of help you with depending upon what we're talking about and where we're going. But the IRS has these tools available on their website so you can get an idea of what it's going to cost you, what it's going to do to you, and et cetera, et cetera. They're always out and about changing things and making the world a different place to be. As I've stated before, and you may know, 1.5 tax law changes every single day in America, and those are only the federal ones. I do get a lot of bulletins on the states, but as I have listeners from all over, I really don't go very much into the states unless, you know, something really, really big. So if you have a question about something specific in your state, you can always give me a call, email me, or find me via my website, and we will talk about it. As I stated, my first consultation is free, and we can have a quick consultation over the phone and plan a Skype call or whatever else it is you need so that we can custom fit your finances to fit your life, your goals, your success, whatever that means to you. So I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Follow the advice of Dolly Parton. Find out who you are and do it on purpose. Yay! Have a wonderful day. Be happy. And thank you for listening. I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.